Hello, my name is John Brink, and today we are podcasting from Prince George on the Brink, and downtown Prince George, in fact, and on a wintry day, and some snow outside, and we have a very special guest today, Dan Gallo, who is an athlete of world level, and a friend, and a fellow that I've known for quite a while, and we be talking to him today not only about his sport, but about a lot of other things as well. Dan, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, John.
So, tell us a little bit about you and your background. Were you born in British Columbia? Or?
I was, yeah, born right here in Prince George, yes.
In Prince George?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, born and raised.
Born and raised in Prince George. And then, so tell us a little bit about initially, you got your schooling here, and then you started a career.
Yes, I graduated from DP Todd in 2002.
Okay.
And then right away I went into heavy duty at CNC doing my pre-apprenticeship.
Okay.
And right from there I got hired on at Untitled Chapter. That was one of the, like when I started my apprenticeship, what drove me to be a heavy duty mechanic was not so much just going out fixing things, but I was really interested to see how things work, like the rebuilding aspect of it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was very lucky that Untitled Chapter picked me up at the time, and
yeah.
You
got your apprenticeship there?
Yes, yeah. So there's been a lot of loyalty from me from there, right?
And you're still with them?
I still am with them, yeah.
Yeah, and you got your training at CNC, and CNC stands for the College of New Caledonia, right? It's a large college here in Prince George.
Yes.
But they have satellites all throughout the region as well, right?
Yep.
And they, it's where they have skills training in a variety of different ways, that include heavy-duty mechanic and certain jobs for the forest industry and a whole lot of other ones.
Yes.
It's very highly regarded school.
Yeah, that's what I was told, and yeah, like I say, I got to do everything here, so it was perfect.
So how long have you been with working as a mechanic for Union Tractor?
I started there when I was 19, and I'm 37 right now.
Oh my God, you worked there 18 years?
Almost, yeah. I had a little episode where I had a mat on, and I left for about 5.5, 6 months.
Okay.
And came right back.
Yeah. Interesting. And so, what does your day look like? You work on heavy machinery mainly?
Yeah. Mostly forestry and construction at our branch. It's a really big shop, but we're not really set up for the mining stuff too much.
Right. And that means fixing engines, transmissions.
Yes. We do lots of, not as much as we used to do, but engine rebuilds, many transmission rebuilds still, differentials.
Yeah.
Final drives, and yeah, lots of maintenance repair work too. Lots of tracks.
Yeah. And then, then the next thing that you became involved with is in particular in sports, right? In different sports, but in particular arm wrestling.
Yes, well that started out in high school. Like, I really enjoyed playing rugby.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
You were good at it, right?
I was pretty good at it, but when I got stuck at 5'7", I didn't grow anymore.
Yeah.
I found, when I was getting chased around the field, I wasn't quite big enough to do that.
Right.
And they ended up having an arm wrestling tournament in school, and I got hooked on it. I ended up winning, and I was only in grade 10 at the time.
So, but now you've been in that particular sport for a long time already. So, and were you just good at it right from the beginning? Is it and we have had some other guests as well that friends of both of us that were bodybuilders and arm wrestlers, and they have this natural talent of being strong, for bodybuilding in particular, or for arm wrestling in particular.
Well, yeah, I thought I was good, and then one of the guys I actually worked with when I was younger told me to get a hold of Vern Martel, of course, and I found out I wasn't quite as good as I thought I was.
Yeah.
In a big hurry.
Yeah, and Vern Martel was a guest with us as well, and he was a world champion, you know, numerous times over, and then had an accident and lost the use of his left arm, and then became known as the one-arm bandit, and again, with a single arm, became a world champion a number of times over.
Yes.
So you were very lucky to get close to Vern in this area in particular, right?
Yes, I was definitely very lucky. And when I first met Vern, I mean, it was such a humbling experience meeting him and then seeing how, like, hearing about the guy, thinking he's going to be this great big man. And he's not a very big man at all.
No.
And he's very soft-spoken.
Yes.
Very friendly.
A gentle person.
Very gentle man, yes. Until you get on the table and, yeah.
So when was that?
Oh, I must have been maybe 18 when I first met Vern, 19.
So that's when you started training
with Vern, yeah.
With Vern, and did he then have a training facility, or did you do it on a one-to-one basis?
No, apparently there used to be a really big club here, like years and years ago.
Yeah, on First Avenue.
Yeah. And I mean, things fell apart, but Vern was nice enough to have the guys over on Sundays. So I just started going over every Sunday practicing with him and a few of the other guys that have been doing it for years.
Yeah. And a lot of the other guys that were, again, friends of mine that usually worked in the forest industry, you know, like the alderman, you know, in the city, and one of the aldermen, and, you know, so... And quite a few other guys that, you know, that in their spare time, what they did is arm wrestling.
Yep.
So you had quite a group of people then.
Well, I didn't actually get to meet a lot of those guys, not quite that far back. But there've been lots of guys from the mid-'90s that were training with Vern, you know. Yeah,
like Brian Skickham is the guy.
Yeah, I never got to actually meet him and practice with some of those guys.
Okay, but somehow it was a big part of everything that, you know, that as a sport here in this particular region in particular.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Vern's got pictures of all those guys on his walls, and he always spoke very highly of all these people, right?
Yeah. And so for you, so then you went into training and, you know, with Vern, and then you put a real effort in it to really get to the top, right? Or was your plan to do it just as a pastime, or were you thinking in terms of going far beyond that?
When I first started, it was just kind of seeing where it would go.
Yeah.
And after I won my first nationals, like in 2006, I went to my first nationals and I went undefeated in my very first nationals. And having
both arms?
No, just the left arm. The right arm, actually, I lost out to Vern. And then Vern ended up getting knocked out. That was one of the first times I've seen Vern lose.
Yeah.
Because nobody could move Vern in practice.
No.
I mean, there was guys that are 300 pounds that we used to train with, and Vern would sit there with them. Yeah. So it was pretty disappointing in the beginning, especially going to tournaments, you know.
Yeah.
Traveling with Vern. And that was actually another thing that really drove me to work harder, because this is a sport where you don't have to be the giant guy. Like, I mean, I'm built solid, but I mean, there's guys that are way bigger than I am. Yeah. Right. But
or smaller.
Or smaller too, right? This is a sport where anybody can compete, and a lot of times, you know, the guy who's faster and more technical ends up winning.
Is it a lot of it technical?
It is, yes. A lot of, like, off a ready go, yeah, technical and speed.
And the positioning and speed.
Body and hand position, yes.
And hand position as to how do you hold your hand.
Yeah, and where you're going to put pressure at.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things.
And intimidation.
Some of the guys, yes. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, pulling Vern the first few times and was never the most intimidating thing, because even gripping up in a tournament, he never really squeezed very hard. It wasn't like he was ready to break. He was just, nothing ever moved.
Yeah.
Everything you had and nothing would go anywhere, right?
No. Which is intimidating in
Well, it was when he's sitting there staring at you, smiling, yes.
Yes. So what is it, Dan, that makes that sport so much of a sport? Is it the combination of all the above, or is it, what is it? Or some people build in such a way that they just have the muscles that are required and all the other things are just working right?
Well, it's kind of all the above, but it's also, it kind of becomes like a bit of a family when you start, meeting people all over the world and all over, like I've met people from, like I say, all over the world and all over Canada, and you start to become close friends after a while, right?
Yeah.
There are definitely people who you play into your strengths, right? So
yeah.
you train towards what your strengths and weaknesses are. So yeah, there are definitely people who are built like probably better than what I am for the sport. It always depends on how you're training and where your body position's at, like I say, for tournaments.
Yeah. So now and I know that because I've been in your gym a number of times, and you put a lot of effort into your training. So tell us a little bit about your training routine on virtually a daily basis.
On a daily basis, well, I get up in the morning, I go downstairs and train before I go to work. Normally just hand training, hand and wrist training. Work all day at the shop, come home, and then right away it's downstairs. Like I say, normally Jacob, you remember the young guy? Yeah, he's always there training with me.
What was his name again?
Jacob Lee.
Jacob
Lee, yeah.
Yeah, Jacob.
Yeah, he was just turning, he was 16 when he won his first nationals there.
Yeah.
So it's been great watching him, but he's always there ready to give me the push. And yeah, we're usually down there till...
How old is he now?
22.
Yeah, because 22, I met him then, way back then when I was there at your training facility, and he was there then as well,
Yep. Couldn't mistake, 21 or 22.
Yeah. So then, so as soon as you come back from work, you're into your gym?
Yeah, we're down in the basement, ready to go, and then we're usually down
How many days a week?
Well, like Jacob's at the house most weeks, usually 6 days a week, 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
Sundays I kind of do my own thing.
Yeah. But you still train?
Oh yeah. There's no days off.
No. Is that I'm not saying that's abnormal, but is that normal? Because I always thought that they say what you have to do is do so many things, and then you have to kind of take a pause, or has everybody got their own routine?
Honestly, I mean, I guess it depends on the individual. I mean, it's normal for me.
Yeah.
If something hurts and I'm having pain, I will back away from that area and train something else, right?
Yeah.
But normally it's always arm wrestling focused the best I can.
Yeah. And then, I like your training facility because you got your whole basement set up with all the equipment, perfectly for what you want to do.
Yes.
You don't need anything outside. And then the other thing that you have is, scared the heck out of me actually, you have this fish tank, which is another hobby for you.
Yes, the aquariums have turned more into a passion too, kind of like my arm wrestling now.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot anymore. It's usually training and then, like I say, with the aquariums and the fish.
Yeah. So the aquarium is large.
Yes. Yeah. Big aquarium.
And then you have some big fish in there, or I don't know what you call them, but
the one's a silver arowana we have, and then a Leopoldi stingray that I've raised since it was. I was actually looking at videos the other day when I got him as a baby, and he was only about like this.
Yeah, and what is he now?
He's probably pushing like that. He's fully grown now.
Yeah, and how big? How long is he?
Oh, I'd say about 22 inches, 23 inches.
Yeah, and then you had one that you took out or something like that, and oh my God, it was.
Oh, the Indonesian blue tongue skink. Yes, yeah. We have quite a few reptiles now too, which has now taken up the rest of the time. Very lucky that Sadie's on board with me with all the animals.
Yeah, but your wife, she loves that too, right?
Yes, yeah.
I don't know how you ever found her, because she is so much into the same things you are, and obviously very complementary to what you're doing.
We do, yeah. It's definitely a very team effort.
Yeah.
And I'm very blessed. I mean, she's always behind me 100% for my training and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, to work with the animals, I mean, if I wasn't at the shop rebuilding, I would probably maybe try and look for something, where I could work with animals too.
Yeah.
Because I love spending my time with them.
Yeah, especially in the aquarium.
Well, the aquariums I love, and then Well, you haven't had a chance to come meet him yet, but we have a big blue cross red tegu.
What is that?
He is a great big lizard. He's pushing 4 feet.
Is there enough room?
About 10 pounds. Oh yeah, he's got his own. We don't have a dining room anymore.
Okay.
He's got his own enclosure in the dining room now. Yep.
And does he know you or?
Well, yeah. One of the things that attracted me to getting a bigger. I always want a bigger lizard, but I mean everything has escalated, right? You get bigger, then bigger and bigger. It's a good thing I don't have a bigger house, otherwise it'd be something else.
Oh my God.
But with all the research and reading I did, tegus were, from what everybody says, one of the most intelligent lizards.
Okay.
And they build a bond with their owner like a dog or a cat, which I found kind of hard to believe. But I mean, over the years, I have noticed with the fish too, they start to learn a bit, right? So we got this guy, brought him home, and
where did you get him?
He came out of a breeder, Opal Dragons, out of the States.
Okay.
A young guy in Spruce Grove had him brought up, and he couldn't look after him. So he's roughly 3 years old now.
Okay.
But yeah, I always wanted one, and I wanted a male because there's such a difference between the males and females.
Okay, why?
Well, the males usually reach 4.5 feet, depending on the species, subspecies.
Right.
Because there are different versions of tegus. But the females normally only reach about 3.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's a huge difference in size.
Right.
So yeah, this guy's a male. He's a blue cross red with a little bit of black in there. So yeah, he's a beautiful animal. He's got attitude, and like I say, for about the first week, it was a little leery. You know, you're putting on gloves to get near him. But
would he snap at you?
Oh yeah, yep. Especially if you went near his house where he sleeps. Yeah. He had no problem coming out of there going after you.
Okay, and you wouldn't want to get caught in between those teeth, huh?
No, he's got big teeth.
Yeah.
But now it's like this morning, for example, I get up and I'm getting ready to go to work this morning, and he's sitting there staring out his enclosure, waiting to come out.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times I'll open up, he'll sit there, and I'll start giving him a head rub. He loves his head rubbed, and then underneath his neck, like you'd be kind of leery putting your hands around there. But he loves it. He'll literally close his eyes. You're sitting there massaging his head and his neck there. Closes his eyes, and that's it. His happy spot.
Yeah. Do you let him out?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's
on the floor.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And what does he do then?
Just hangs out, wanders around. I don't let him out of the kitchen until he's done his thing, gone to the bathroom, clean that up, and then he's got, you know, when he wants to wander around, full run of the house, pretty much upstairs. He checks everything out,
and your wife is okay with
that? Oh yeah, yeah. Like in the beginning too, like he had a thing with bare feet, so you didn't have bare feet upstairs because he's seen your toes and. It's like little chew toys, right? But yeah, now he's great.
Yeah,
he's great. You pick him up, handle him,
but I'm scared to ask this, but what does he eat?
Oh, well, if I can wake him up like tonight, he'll be getting some salmon and some fruit. This morning he got a big rat.
I was afraid of that.
Yep, yep.
But the live?
No. I people do feed them live, but I was just. Yeah, I would feel bad doing that, so just buy them frozen.
yeah. So so how long have you had him now?
We got him just before my birthday in June, so not that long yet.
Yeah, and then how does he get along with the other?
Well, he's not allowed to be around like the smaller lizards, like the blue-tongued skink or the tortoise. Those he's not allowed to be around. But he has been great with the pugs.
Yeah.
Like when it was 30 degrees out in the summer, all 3 of them were out in the backyard, and they'd all walk around to the middle of the backyard and just suntan.
And not leaving?
No.
Or trying to leave?
No.
Yeah.
No, he's a very, very laid back animal.
Interesting, yeah. So what got you into that?
Honestly, it just feels just right to me. Like I always love being around animals, right? I mean.
Yeah. Of all description.
Yeah, of all description. That's just my personality, right?
Yeah, mine too, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, what a combination. So then the times that I visited you, then you are training and then, doing all your stuff there. And then I kind of look at the aquarium and say, oh my God, what's going to happen here? And then you told me the one that kind of jumps out of there altogether.
He has a few times, yes. Not anymore. I mean, he's kind of getting up there in age, so he's kind of mellowed out a little bit more. But yeah, I have had him a few times on the floor. Yeah. And it is definitely interesting picking an animal that big back up and trying to put him in a fish tank.
Yeah, yeah. I would think so. So then, you know, kind of coming back to, so that's your training room. It's about half the size of our room here, so it's very compact, right? And then, you know, the, so now you've competed at the national level, international level. So where do you go next with your sport?
Well, with any luck, eventually I'll be able to win a world title.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really think back now on a lot of time I spent wasted, you know, because once I decided to make this kind of my sport, you know, like,
right.
You know, I've never been a fan of doing something that kind of half-assing it, put it that way.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, or I'm not going to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I really dedicated my time.
You give it all.
I give it my all, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, now I reflect back on how much time I wasted messing around doing things I shouldn't have been doing.
Right.
But eventually to win a WAF world title, right? I mean, there's a couple organizations that, you know, call themselves worlds, but, you know, to win the WAF would be huge.
Yeah,
the one where, you know, all the Europeans, that's a big one.
Yeah, so are you already in the lineup for competing at that level?
Well, I'd like to think I am. Right now, I'd have to get back down in weight. I mean, I'm sitting a little heavy right now.
Yeah.
Because I've been training nonstop.
If you've been training nonstop, that gained you weight?
I have gained more size, yes.
More muscle.
More
in
muscle
particular,
size, yes.
In your upper body in particular?
Well, I have been doing a lot of deadlifting too, which is something I probably shouldn't have been doing because I have put on more size in my legs too.
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoy picking big things up too, so it's probably something I shouldn't have been doing quite as much. But yeah, like I would love to be able to win a world title at my weight class.
Yeah. So what gets you there? When does that opportunity present itself?
Well, for WAF, you have to go to normally like your provincials. You would start out there to go to nationals, and then you would have to be top 2 at the Canadian nationals.
Yeah.
Or whichever country you're from, and then that would qualify you to go to WAF.
Because you won that.
Because you've won, yeah.
That level.
Yes.
And then when do you? So you already won it. Then the next step is North America, or what is the next?
Well, then the next step would be to eventually go to Worlds when I get a chance to, yes.
Yeah. And when is it and where?
Well, this year, everything was canceled, same like last year, right?
Yeah.
So there was no chance to go.
High likelihood, though, that it be open next year, right?
I sure hope so.
Yeah, me too. But assuming that would be the case.
Yeah. From what I hear, if nationals are open, they're supposed to be in Winnipeg next year.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
And I'm not sure where Worlds are at the WAF is next year. I know this year they ended up having WAF in Romania, I believe.
Oh, of all places.
It hasn't been back to North America since 2010 Vegas.
Is that because it's so popular in Europe?
It's huge in Europe and
Eastern Europe in particular?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
But because of the standards, like they hold the sport, like it's big, right?
Yeah.
Not like quite like it is over here. It's a real sport over there, right?
Yeah.
People make it a big deal, so
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it'll ever be back in North America the way things are going.
Yeah. So I'm surprised actually, Dan, that the sport is so popular in Europe and to a certain extent North America and South America. I'm surprised that it is not an Olympic sport.
Yeah, I'm kind of that way too.
Yeah.
I have no idea why.
Because it would be very much suited for that, wouldn't it?
I think so. A lot of times though, I mean, honestly, it does get, with all the setups and slip outs and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I don't really know why they wouldn't have it in the Olympics other than, you know.
Is that just a matter of time?
Yeah, sometimes there can be a lot of time wasted between matches, right?
Yeah. And then, but eventually it will become especially with the popularity it has in Europe.
Yes, and I mean it has grown substantially, and I mean now there's another organization, the IFA, which held, which I probably should have went down to. I was him and Han about. They had a kind of their own worlds they started up.
Okay.
Down in Florida, and like I say, I probably should have went. It was him and Han, because the way things were going, right? They're gonna have it, they're not gonna have it. So
yeah.
I just kind of
difficult to plan.
Well,
right?
it was kind of difficult to plan, right? So
yeah, no, for sure. And then, but if they have it next year in Europe, you certainly would be qualifying for it, right?
Would you then have to go to nationals? Yeah.
You would go to the nationals in Winnipeg.
Yep.
If you place there, would you have to win in order to qualify?
Top two.
Huh?
Top two.
Top three?
Top two.
Top two.
Yep.
Yeah. It's amazing, and and I always kind of look at you, and as you know, I competed bodybuilding,
yes.
And qualified for. Obviously the BC ones in my class, bodybuilding and physique, and then the nationals, which then qualified me for the Arnolds, and it's quite an experience. And and I always kind of thought of you, and I mentioned that to you before, as also as another complementary sport to you, because you're in such fantastic shape to do bodybuilding as well in combination with.
I've thought about it.
Yeah,
I have put thought into it. Yes.
Yeah, because you it does not conflict with what you do. In fact, it complements it in a way.
It does quite a bit. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you go through such immense training already. This is not just you're in just top-notch shape.
I'm trying to be anyway. Yeah.
Well, you are. There's no question about it. But anyway, to be. But I always find interesting, Dan, and I'm sure you do too. And you were born here, you've been here, and I've been here 56 years. I always look at Prince George, and then especially since we do podcasting and interviewing and do our athletes of the month, and I think you were our athlete of the month at least once. That we have so many people here that have excelled in their sports.
There is so much talent around Prince George.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And actually, when I met you, that was one of the things too, because if I remember right, you were getting ready for your bodybuilding and training with Kendall and stuff.
Exactly.
Right, and it's such a huge inspiration there too, right?
Yes.
Because everybody thinks you get to a certain age, you give up, you just kind of do your thing, right? And it's like, well, why?
Why?
If you got a passion, keep going, right?
Exactly. And and so when I was training, for the provincials then, and so was Kendall, and Kendall is another superstar, an amazing young lady, and I think she was at that time maybe not even 20, and so we both went to Vancouver to compete in the Pan Pacific, which is one of the biggest hotels in Vancouver. There must have been well over 200 athletes there, but I always found amazing everybody that was there and was competing deserved it. There was no question about it, and had given it all. And but what was kind of interesting for Kendall and myself is she was virtually the youngest one there, did fantastic in terms of the competition. I was the oldest because at that point, I think it was 78 or so, which made me virtually the oldest competitive bodybuilder. And then in my class, a number of other people had qualified, so we had, I think, 4 competing for the nationals, and the top 3 would go, about 5, I think. The top 3 would go. And and the age range was 55 and older, and I think I was 15 years older than the oldest one from them.
Okay, yeah.
And they could all have been my kids for all intents and purposes. But I won anyway. And I came in 3rd in bodybuilding and 2nd in physique, and which was amazing. But it's always the feeling that you have. You go to a venue, a setting like that on the provincial or national level, and see all the commitments that people make, and even to the extent of diet and all of those things combined, because bodybuilding, no different than, I'm sure, in your sport, arm wrestling, diet is extremely important.
And it is, yes.
And so what do you do on the diet side and for yourself?
Oh God.
Pre-competition, and in between and after.
Well, pre-competition time, it's normally back to smoothies, and like right now I'm starting to, I want to get ready for next year with everything, hopefully getting ready to go again.
Yeah.
So, you know, back to smoothies and lots of raw vegetables and basically boiled chicken and rice, and to get down naturally. I mean, I've done it in a bathtub, you know, trying to make weight, and if you get a day or two to kind of recover, it's not quite as bad. But when I've walked in, when I've actually lost the weight naturally, and you're well adjusted to your body, you perform so much better. So is that what you're trying to do then? So now you're already getting ready for next year. So you say you're a little bit heavy, so you're trying to lose how many pounds? Yeah, I got about 12, 13 pounds I want to drop off.
So no problem to do it in a natural way, or do you have to really work on it?
Well, I have to actually work on it, which is kind of a problem, because I probably would have been good at bodybuilding too, because I gain weight very easily. So I'm always, even when I do have cheat meals and stuff, we don't really go too off the wall. I gain body fat really easy, which I gain muscle extremely easy when I'm training heavy.
And so knowing your body, extremely important, right?
Yes, that's one of the biggest things. I mean, in any kind of a sport, I think. But especially if a person's doing this kind of thing, is, you know, there's so many different diets out there, so many different training regimes, but sit down and get to know your body, right? You learn how to manipulate it after a while.
And so diet not well understood in a lot of ways, you know, in bodybuilding, and you know, and the same for men as well as for the women, you know, in physique, you know, it could be as much as 75% is diet.
Yes. Well, to get down to those numbers you need, right?
Exactly. And you know, and the good examples of that again, and talking about Kendall, you know, she was very, very good at it, still is putting on seminars at her age, and being so deeply into diet. But some of the other ones too, all the ones that I met doing competition, very, very committed to diet and the routine and the discipline that is required to get to that top level, right?
There is so much discipline involved, and it makes it hard, because and that's something I've found it, you know, and I used to have a hard time with it, that discipline level, because you have to start separating yourself from other people, and like kind of everything, right? All those negative aspects that are in your life, you have to learn to start cutting off to be focused on that goal, right?
Especially when you're in a relationship, or you're married, or your wife. That's so important in your case, because she is so supportive. But a lot of times, you know, you have to follow a diet not only of eating and training, but also in sleeping and rest and all of these other things, you know, that you have to follow closely if you want to get to the top, right?
Yes, yeah. Like I say, I've been very lucky with Sadie to help me out every step of the way, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
not a lot of time for sitting around watching TV anymore.
No. So as you kind of look forward, how do you see things? You know, you're still a very young man, compared to me anyway. So I turned 81 last week, you know, so, but if you kind of look, well, saying that, actually, I should mention that right now as well, that I'm going to go back to the gym probably as early as next month, but certainly starting 1st of January. And then I want to compete again in bodybuilding and physique in my class and compete likely when I'm still 81, or next year I'll be turning 82. And
you know what? That's absolutely incredible, and I mean it's hugely inspirational just hearing hearing you say that, right?
And why not, eh?
Why not, right?
Yeah, exactly that. You know,
and that's, I mean, Jesus, that's a driving factor right there, just hearing that.
Yeah,
right?
and it's so exciting then, because then at least, and you do the same. If I go to the gym and you go into your training, you go there with a goal in mind. You're just not there to do something, but no, you have a definite goal in mind.
Yes, well, I mean, that's how you seem to get anything in life. I mean, when I had the goal of becoming a heavy-duty mechanic, I had to sit down and do all my study and do everything to get that, right? Like,
exactly.
When I'm doing my engine rebuilds or a transmission rebuild or on something newer that I've never done before, right? I mean, it's
exactly.
You know, somebody hands you a $200,000 engine, here you go.
Yeah.
It's a little nerve-wracking, but it's still that goal, right? I got to figure out what happened. What am I going to do?
Exactly. And then you become good at it, Dan, as you are in being the heavy-duty mechanic in your job, and the same as you do in arm wrestling. The same with me. If I go to the gym, I go there with the idea in mind that I want to have structured training. I want to have discipline in terms of my diet, and I want to compete, you know, and already kind of having it in mind and working towards that. And it's so important for younger people in particular. You know, had an opportunity to talk to a few young people in the last couple of days, and you know, talking about you know, like when I came to Prince George in June of 1965. I had in my pocket $25.47. I couldn't speak the language. I didn't know a soul, and I didn't have a job. But I had a dream, and the dream was to build a lumber mill. And you know, and 10 years later, in 1975, I started a company called Brink Forest Products, which I still have today as part of the Brink Group. But we also have 15 other companies, and you know, and the company is much, much bigger now. But the dream was always there to build a mill, and that kind of drove me all the way, step by step. And in fact, I wrote a book about it, and you know, for the people that are kind of watching, Against All Odds, the price of this book, and I'm not trying to sell it, well, maybe I am, you know, is $25.47. That's what I had in my pocket when I arrived here, about 3 or 4 blocks away from where we are interviewing Dan, and at the Greyhound bus station. And so in a way, what we are talking about, Dan, it's all about dreams and what can happen and what can make it come true.
Yes, I just want to say that, like, you know, you came here with so little, right? And it's not like your dream happened overnight, over 3 or 4 years.
No.
It's something you continuously work for to achieve, right?
Correct.
And that's something that everybody, I mean, I wish more people that I talk to would have.
Yeah.
Right? Because, you know, it's so easy to float through life without having that dream, that goal. It's just, you get caught in that trap of just going through, like, whether it be my job or anything, right?
Exactly. And the other thing that's very fundamental to me, and the foundation to me, is that three pillars in particular is attitude, avoid the negative, passion, find your passion, whatever that may be. For us, we know what it is, but for others, maybe as they are seeking for that, they find it, because if you do, you will become good at it and you enjoy your life because you enjoy what you're doing. The other one connected to that, attitude, passion, and work ethic. And work ethic, you know, shows in abundance with you, and I believe the same with myself. And then what follows that is success.
Yes.
You know, no question about it.
Sometimes the success doesn't happen overnight. Like,
no.
You know, it's, when I went to my first Worlds, you know, I got flattened, and it was a whole other thing you got to understand, right? It's, a person's got to keep that drive, you know.
But you dusted yourself off, you learned from it, it kind of bothered you initially because it has to, and then from there and then you say, like Arnold says, I'll be back.
I'll be back, yes. I was, and the next time I ended up at 6th place.
Yeah.
Still not podium though.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, so what we both say, and what I admire in Dan, is that his commitment to what he does, his commitment to his hobbies in terms of the animal world, you know, although it's scary to me a little bit, is so thank you for being a guest, Dan, and obviously we need to do one thing, and that means we need to arm wrestle before you leave. And so what I thought is what we're going to do is, should we do it? Okay, do I have it right this way?
Yes,
yeah. Okay, do I have my hand right? Should I go this way?
Oh, no, that's perfect.
Do we do intimidation or not? I think I got him. Oh, my God. Dan,
thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.